I didn't talk about it because I didn't care, and most of you didn't care. I put up a poll question, were you paying attention to the NBA's in-season tournament? And I think 82% of you said you were not. It ended on Saturday. The Lakers won, and evidently they've raised a banner, and everybody is ridiculing them for raising a banner at Staples Center for winning the in-season tournament. And this is important, I think. Why did the NBA decide to do an in-season tournament? And why do so many of the boot-licking NBA media immediately claim that everything the NBA does is a huge success? These NBA media members are complete and total propagandists for the league. Doesn't matter what happens, they come out and they tell you, oh, this was amazing. You know what I did? I went and looked. I was like, how many people actually watch this? Because everybody I know is watching the NFL or watching college football. Nobody cares about a stupid in-game tournament. I was like, maybe I'm wrong. I asked you in that poll. Most of you were not paying attention. Then I went and looked at the ratings. The ratings for the NBA in-season tournament were up 4% over last year's average ratings for NBA games. Let me repeat that. They were up 4%. The NBA spent tens of millions of dollars, maybe even over $100 million, hyping up how much this NBA in-season tournament mattered, and the ratings were up 4%, and it ended with everybody mocking the Lakers for actually caring about winning this championship and trying to raise a banner. Who cares about a flippin' in-season tournament? Now, I understand if you pay people more money. Nobody watched. Nobody cared. Everybody in the media claiming to you that it's a success is a liar, and you should understand that they are propagandists, bootlickers of Adam Silver and the NBA. But I really kind of went back and I said, okay, let's be reasonably intelligent about this. Why is there an NBA in-season tournament at all? Well, the reason is because nobody cares about the regular season in the NBA. And so Adam Silver is desperate, the commissioner of the NBA, to try to gin up interest. So he comes up with this random in-season tournament and decides that there's going to be a championship and they're going to play it in Vegas. And by the way, they had to give away tickets. Nobody wanted to buy tickets. Why is this going on? It's a failure of NBA ratings that this was designed in the first place. And what actually ended up happening, and this is really important, ratings only went up 4%, basically the exact same rating that they got in the regular season anyway, which means nobody out there bought in outside of the people who were already watching the NBA already, which is a big deal because the goal was let's expand the audience, let's create more value, let's create more brand value. Why are they doing this? Because nobody's watching the regular season NBA. But look bigger picture here. The NBA is desperate because nobody's watching their product. The ratings have collapsed. You can go read about it at OutKick. The number of people that watch the NBA now compared to when Michael Jordan played with the Chicago Bulls is a pinprick. The NBA's lost like 70% of their audience since 1998. It's unheard of. Their rights are coming up, television rights, and ESPN and TNT, because both of their cable businesses are collapsing, can't afford to pay a substantial increase. This is important. The NBA is like, you're going to have to pay us triple what you pay us now because we're so successful. And ESPN and TNT are looking at the ratings, and they're like, actually, way less people watch your product now than used to watch. We should be paying you less based on the amount of people that are actually watching. So Adam Silver's starting to panic, I think. And so he says, okay, we're going to create a brand new in-season tournament. It's going to be super popular, and we're going to sell it to either Amazon or Apple. We're going to get them bidding on this brand new in-season tournament because it's going to be super popular and everybody's going to have to watch it. And then the ratings come out, and it basically had the same viewership as the regular NBA, which is to say not very many people at all cared. But this is what's going on. The NBA is trying to sell a bill of goods to ESPN, to TNT, to Apple, or to Amazon to get them to pay more money for a product that people are watching less. And so They created this in-season tournament. They're probably trying to sell it to Amazon or Apple and saying, look, you're going to get a brand new asset that everybody's going to care about, the in-season tournament. It's going to be so popular. And then if you actually have a functional brain and you look, you see, wait a minute, nobody cared. And that's even though LeBron James and the Lakers, probably still the best draw for the NBA, made the finals, 4% increase overall in viewership compared to the regular NBA ratings last year. 4%, nothing. Okay, now, this also ties in with another question, which if the NBA media wasn't filled with such bootlicking propagandists, somebody would be saying, wait a minute, why is Mark Cuban selling the Dallas Mavericks? And why is he selling the Dallas Mavericks for $500 million less than the Phoenix Suns sold for last year? Am I the only person asking this? The Phoenix Suns sold for $4 billion. The Dallas Mavericks are in a bigger media market, and they have probably the best young star in Luka Doncic that anybody could hope for in the NBA right now. Why would the Mavericks sell for $500 million less in a big market with a star player who is young and under contract for years to come than the Phoenix Suns just did? And why would Mark Cuban sell? You guys know Mark Cuban has been jumping into my mentions for years now, arguing that whenever I share NBA ratings data that I don't understand, and the NBA is in an incredible place, and the NBA is so popular and so unbelievably fortunate for what their demos look like and how the future is going to be. Has anybody asked Mark Cuban why he decided to sell if all that's true? Why has Mark Cuban been jumping in my direct messages, in my messages on Twitter, where all of you can see it publicly, and arguing that the NBA's future is so bright, if he's deciding to jump off the NBA train and take way less than what the Phoenix Suns sold for last year? There's only two reasons, really, that I can think of. One, Mark Cuban thinks the NBA marketplace is peaked. He knows that the television rights deal is not going to be that good. He sees that cord cutting is going on. He sees that there are major issues with the NBA brand, and he's been lying to all of you publicly while privately he's going to go try to put all the money he can in his pocket. I think that's probably the most likely. That deep down, Mark Cuban actually agrees with me. He's looking at the data. He sees that he made a good profit. He thinks the best days of the NBA are past because he's taking less than peak value. Pigs get slaughtered, hogs get fat. And he's deciding to cash his money in. Why is anybody asking this? Mark Cuban's made a lot of money. If he really loved the NBA, why would he be selling out right before they're about to do a new media contract? Now, Mark Cuban, what would Mark Cuban say? Oh, he would spin it. He'd be like, I love the NBA's future. I just got such an incredible offer, I couldn't turn it down. Okay, well, if you love the NBA's future, then the offer would have to be more than the last franchise sold for to actually be an incredible offer, right? Well, he's like, well, I get to stay on and be president, so I get all the good stuff with none. No. Mark Cuban thinks that the NBA market has peaked. That's the reason why he sold. He's not an imbecile. Why isn't the media covering this story? Why isn't the bootlicking NBA propagandist media that tried to tell you that the in-season tournament was super successful, why aren't they covering the actual ratings up 4%? And why, and nobody cares, and the Lakers are getting made fun of for raising a banner, and why aren't they covering Mark Cuban selling the Dallas Mavericks in a bigger market with a bigger star for $500 million less valuation of the franchise than the Phoenix Suns just got? Seems like a really big deal. Mark Cuban, directly to you, I'll ask you. You've been jumping in my mentions telling me that the NBA's future is unmatched for years now. why did you suddenly just decide to jump out? I said, one, he got such a good price. The other one, and this is probably being uncharitable, but it's the only other hypothesis I can come up with. The other one is that he's got some charge based on the way that he's run the Mavs, sexual harassment or otherwise, of which there have been ample stories in the past. And this is a secret punishment that is being undertaken by the NBA, and they are forcing him to sell and don't want him to be a managing owner anymore. That's the only two things I can think of. And I don't think he would get to stay on and manage the team if that were the case. So the only thing I can think of is Mark Cuban, despite what he's saying publicly, recognized that the market has peaked. It's not like he's 85 and he's trying to put his financial house in order. He's 65. Only thing that makes sense is he thinks all the money has been made that's going to be made, and he's tapping out. But these are questions that a reasonable, honest, intelligent media would be asking, and you should be asking yourself, wait a minute, why am I only hearing this from Clay Travis? Why is nobody else asking these questions? Why is nobody else even talking about this? If the NBA's future was so bright, why is its most famous owner deciding to sell the team? And why are they so aggressively trying to tell you that an in-season tournament, which sports fans overwhelmingly didn't care about and that feels desperate at its inception because it's designed to try to wring out more value from a marketplace that doesn't have much or doesn't see much value for the NBA? Why isn't that all being talked about? Very important.